Dubai show. We are joined by actor, producer, director, the incredible Ahmed El-Mawas. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Not at all. We have a bit of a time difference here. I'm in Dubai. It's evening time. Where are you?
I am in Minneapolis, Minnesota right now. It's 8 a.m. in the morning. So good morning to you all and good night to you all, I guess.
Thank you. And I believe we just missed each other. You were in Dubai only recently, shooting North of the 10. Is that right?
Yeah, I was shooting North of the 10 in Abu Dhabi. But then when we were done, the cast and I, we made a trip to Dubai to spend a couple of days and have some fun out there. But yes, we did miss each other, I think by a day or two. It was Eid, you know, everybody was, most people are out of town.
That's true. Tell us a bit about filming in the UAE in the last couple of weeks. What's it been like for you?
I always say this. I want to say it's an incredible experience without sounding cliche, but really, like when you compare filming in the Middle East to filming anywhere else in the US, I always see the difference in treatment, you know, because, you know, the UAE, they always have a high standard of everything, whether it's tallest building, biggest restaurants, they take everything to the next level. And I think that is also reflected in the work ethic and the work itself when it comes to filmmaking. Mm-hmm. And I saw the difference because 2 years ago, I filmed Misfits in the UAE. And, you know, I had a small role in it, decent role. And I got, the treatment was amazing. And then I came back this time as one of the main cast. And the experience was, even exponential to that. So I'd love to say that I had a great time. Everybody's friendly. The quality of food is amazing. And I would love to come back and continue working because, and it's close to home. That's always a plus. The time zone difference between me and my family and I who live in Lebanon, you know, it's more reasonable. We can actually say good morning to each other.
It's more manageable, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Let's learn a little bit more about you because we know that you originally actually graduated as in electrical engineering. You've done modeling, you've done directing, you've got writing credits. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey, let's say from university to where you are now, like a summary of how you got there?
Yeah. So, I mean, acting and entertainment has always been a passion since childhood. But then, you know, I come from a family, you know, from a Middle Eastern family where there's expectations of you to, you know, lawyer, doctor, engineer. That should be your profession in the long run. So I recall when I graduated from Shoifat, you know, it's a school in the Sabbath system. I know there's one in, are you Shoifat too?
I used to teach in Shoifat.
Oh, yes. I mean, I'm a Shoifat student.
So you're very smart. That's clear because you can only get through that school if you are.
I can get the job done.
Learner. That's incredible.
I'm glad we still have that reputation. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you know, I graduated college, and then the plan was, you know, with a good education like Shoifat, you can travel anywhere in the world. So to me, I always had my eyes on the U.S. You know, because Hollywood is here. But ever since I was a kid, I sort of planned this whole thing out. It's like, let me go there, let me get my degree, you know, to make my parents satisfied. Because I owe them, right? They take care of you, they nurture you. It's a cultural thing. And then once I get my degree, I can go do whatever I want. But then when I came to the US, I studied, I got my degree. I realized that this industry is it's not as glamorous as it seems behind the scenes. It's harsh. You know, they call Hollywood the land of broken dreams for a reason. So what I ended up doing is, like, I would use my engineering job. I ended up working in consulting. I'd use my consulting job and fund my acting career. So in the beginning, I'd be working my job, and during lunch breaks, I go to auditions. This was in Minneapolis, and I would start booking gigs, one after the other, and, you know, big ads, big commercials, locally in Minneapolis. And then once I had a decent resume, I moved to LA, you know, to pursue bigger dreams. And then in LA, that's where my job served me the most because I partnered with like-minded individuals, like fraternity brothers. His name was Andres, and then we produced our very first short film. And the way we did that is, it was all behind the scenes for me. And I'm telling you, and it hurt so bad because, you know, deep down, I'm a performer. I love being in front of the camera. I love performing. I love expressing myself, right? but I was behind the scenes, and the idea behind that is we need to understand how filmmaking works. We need to understand the elements that need to come together to bring a film together. So that's why him and I, all we did was just finance. We paid to be behind the scenes. We had a producer, we had a director, an AD, the whole crew, we had a full crew, and we're just watching behind the scenes as producers, and I'm here learning. And that was my first experience making my first film. And after that, I started jumping into short film after short film after short film, kept getting better and better until I built my reel. So now I have a reel that I can showcase my talent, different characters I can play, my skill set. Keep in mind, while doing that, I'm taking acting classes on the side. You know, because that's one thing everybody asks: have you studied, or are you studying? Right. So yeah, so it got to a point where my reel was looking solid, and I started, you know, showing it to different agents, and I got signed, and I moved a couple of agents. I switched agencies, but I always had my manager who stuck with me for a while now, because, you know, she believed in me. She's also growing her business, so we had a very good relationship between us. So she's still with me today. And yeah, once you find a good manager who's got your back, she'll start getting you into doors to different agencies. And when you have a team of a good manager and an agent, they will start getting you into rooms that you can actually do auditions for legitimate TV shows, bigger projects, and whatnot. But it took a while.
It did take a while. This is a whole journey, and that whole living in LA, you know, acting classes and going behind the scenes, like it's so interesting to so many people. Can you tell us what's it like walking into an audition room for a job you really, really want, and what is that like?
Oh my God, you're not gonna get it. If you feel like, you're probably not gonna get it, because here's the thing, like with auditions, and I've learned this over the past, when you go there and you're nervous and you're not being yourself, I feel like casting directors will see how desperate you are, right? And that will affect your performance. I don't care how good you are. They're going to see right through it. And that's going to, you know, it's going to shift their focus on your performance to you and what you've got going on internally, I guess, right? So just what I've done, my method is, because I've got a good job, I have my other, you know, side businesses. When I go to an audition room, it's not a matter of life and death anymore. You know, it's not a matter of, oh, I need this to eat or to pay my rent. No, this is me coming to you as a performer, giving you my skill set and talents because I love this, right? You're different. You're coming in from a different angle, from an angle of passion. And then when you have that attitude, then it's all play. Then you become, the casting directors want you to win now, and you're all having fun. You're excited. You're playing with it. There's no nervousness. This is a business. We understand each other. Right, and we would like to work together. We don't need to work together. It'll be a pleasure to be in the same room together.
It's a mentality thing. What was the breakthrough moment for you? Let's say, for example, you said you come from an Arab background. You had to get the degree because you owed it to your parents. What was the moment in your acting or your producing career that you said, "Hey, this is actually something that I can do full time, that I can stand behind as a career"? What was the pinnacle moment there that you were able to show to your family and say, "Yo, this is it"?
I think it was when I did one ad.
Oh, we're breaking up.
No, you there?
I missed the start of that. You said, "I think I did," and then we missed it. So we can
yeah. I remember this very clearly. It was when I did an ad campaign, and then it was so huge that they ended up putting my face on websites, on trucks, on the streets, and on billboards, downtown, highways, everywhere. And by coincidence, at that period in time, my parents came to visit the U.S. So not only did I show them the check that I received, right, the dollars that came in, I was like, look up, that's me right there. Oh yeah, the truck, yeah, that's me right there. Amazing. So when they saw that, they're like, oh, this is, you know, they're like, oh, this is actually legit, you know, like it can happen. And that was in 2014 or 15, I want to say.
Incredible.
14, yeah.
And since then, you know, you've worked on a movie like Misfits, starring Pierce Brosnan and Tim Roth, which was, you said, created here in the UAE as well, part of it. Tell us a bit about that production. When you get to that level, how do things change? What's it like going into? Do you prepare in a different way? And what's the experience like working on a massive production like that?
Yeah, I think you now have a bigger responsibility, because what I noticed with these productions, it's like a well-oiled machine. You have people that are working all these different roles. There's no time for holdups. There's no space for delay, because you're burning money every single minute, right? It's an
Mm-hmm.
hourly rate. People working nonstop. So I think you have to be on your A game, and this is when you have to be very comfortable and confident with your craft. There's really no room for errors or mistakes. So on a production like that, I bring everything I've learned to the table. You know, I don't want to show up and say, "Oh, I wish I did this or I should have done that." Well prepared, and that's been my my mantra my whole life, is just be prepared, because you never know when an opportunity hits.
It was a massive opportunity, but the movie itself didn't get massively positive feedback. There was some negative critics on that. What
Mm-hmm.
is it like to be involved in a production that sometimes doesn't get a massively positive feedback?
Yeah, you know, it's I mean, look, that's a great question, and to me, as an actor, I just I feel bad. I feel bad because now you're looking at it, and it, you know, there's a lot of politics come into play. You start to realize this is where the line between a business and the art is now more visible to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and to me as an actor, you know, I just have to do my responsibility, which is not only perform well, but make sure, you know, you're spreading that good energy on set. You're being a very good person. You lead by example when you're on set, because people watch you, and you know, they behave similar to the way you do. So it's a matter of you of setting the tone and just doing my part. And in terms of not being received as well as they might, you know, there's always lessons learned, and you know, and this comes, you know, from the higher ups. It is what it is, and you never always strike gold. But I think it's very important to take your lessons learned and apply them to your next project. Hence, one of the producers, Kais and Deal, took those lessons learned, I guess, and he's actually the one producing North of the Ten, the movie that I was in. And from what I've seen so far, it's been hella fun, and I'm really excited to see that one come to life. And that's somebody who's really passionate about film, and yeah, and I'm happy to work with him again. You know, so yeah, that. I think that's an example of somebody who you know, who learns from the past and continues to try to make a difference.
North of the 10, like you said again, like it is, there's a lot of talk about it here. There's been so much media attention on it in the last couple of months while filming was taking place. You yourself, obviously you have experience in different pockets of the industry. Where does your passion really lie going forward? Is it acting or producing, directing? Where do you see yourself in future?
I think definitely producing and acting, and twofold. It's understanding what my strengths are and merging it with my passion. Like, I could be a passionate actor, I could be a talented actor, but if there's no project, there's no work for me. And I'm the type of person, I'm not going to sit around and wait for the phone to ring, right? So that's why, you know, you coming up in this industry, you start to make relationships with people from all areas of filmmaking. So I'll have friends that have all these wonderful scripts, but no producer to produce them. I'll have producers that are looking for projects. So all I have to do is just jump in the mix and just make stuff happen.
So cool.
You know, just push stuff to different people for projects to get lifted off the ground. And that's one element of producing. Like, that's a skill in producing.
And you've worked on, obviously, both productions in English and Arabic. Is there a vast difference between those two productions?
You know, not for the Arabic, it wasn't so heavy. Because majority of the crews that I've worked with, it's all English films in general.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean, the Arabic was very, very light. So I haven't experienced that side of a production just yet, and we'll see where the future takes me, because I did make a few friends while I was out there in the UAE that do work on you know, full Arabic, project. And I told them, I told them my Arabic dialect is Lebanese, so just so you're aware. I'm like, yeah, we can still work with that. I was like, all right, just let me know. Done. So we'll see. I'm excited to explore that side of filmmaking.
Cool. And before you leave us, you've mentioned before that social media has played a big role in your acting. How important do you think is social media for people in the industry?
I think it's extremely important. I think it's changing the game. It's funny because as a late '80s baby, I guess I've seen both sides. Before social media was in, and then how social media started to blend into the industry, and how now it's taken over. I really think that it's very important for everyone to have a social media presence. I think it's important for people to understand how it works and really use it to support themselves and their business. And when I mean business, support themselves, because they are the brand. As an actor, you are the business. You are your brand. And I recall my first break from Misfits. I met one of the producers through social media because he saw my. I used to do skits, comedy videos, and then we connected through that. And then I worked with him on a couple of promotional videos for his social media page. And next thing you know, he comes to me, says, "Hey, we're doing a movie. We'd like for you to audition. Give us your team's info, your agent's info." And that was it.
Interesting. 100% social media is there to make those connections, and it's super helpful. Finally, last question for anyone in the region, anyone who's interested in making their own way into acting, into film. Do you have any piece of advice for a younger audience that might be interested in that?
I do. Don't wait. Just hit the ground running. Create. You don't know how to create, either learn how to create or partner with somebody who knows how to create. But don't sit there and wait for an opportunity to land in your lap. You really need to chase it.
Very good. Really, really appreciate your time. You're coming to us from Minneapolis, and we cannot wait for North of the 10 to hit screens. And we'll see you as Omar, I believe.
That's right. Yes.
Very much looking forward to that. But thank you very much for your time.